the Success Principles was about to come out. He said, to me, success is like knowing the combination to a lock.
Hi.
He said, if you know the combination to a lock, it doesn't matter.
I'm listening to Jack Canfield.
White and black.
He's talking about his success principles. I'm a very big fan of Jack Canfield. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the top personal developers in the world today, influencing thousands of people to live in their full potential.
So the idea is that what I'm about, what I've spent 30 years of my life doing.
Hey, I have a question for you. Do you have a big life purpose? Do you have a wonderful dream for your life? I'll be honest with you. I don't always know if I have. Sometimes I feel guilty about it. I know that a lot of people have this big dream, this big vision for their lives, but I don't always feel that I have that. But I do draw a lot of inspiration from the story of Jack Canfield. Jack started out as a history teacher in Chicago, and he was teaching in one of the poorer neighborhoods. And one of the things that he noticed was that a lot of the kids came out of broken homes and didn't really have a sense of how to be successful in life. They didn't have any role models or nobody teaching them the essential life skills. So he decided to start a personal development course for these kids. And it became very, very popular. Then other teachers saw what he was doing, and so they decided, we want to learn what you do. And so Jack started to teach other teachers how to inspire kids to live to their full potential. And this went further than Chicago, and eventually he was doing this nationwide until he became one of the top 10 people in his time in the United States to teach personal development, primarily targeted at teachers. And then he made storytelling one of the hallmarks of his teaching and speaking style. And then one day, someone asked him, do you have a place where I can read all these wonderful stories? And he didn't. So he decided, I'm going to put it all together in a book. And he actually reached out to other people that also had stories to tell, other personal developers, and he put all these stories together in a book. Now, he didn't know what to call the book. So he went into meditation. And during meditation, he got this idea, chicken soup for the soul. So he and his assistant, they put together this book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, put the manuscript together, and then they started to go to publishers to get it published. And publisher after publisher said, no, thank you. We're not interested. 144 publishers said no. Eventually, a publisher somewhere out in Florida said, sure, we'll publish your book. When the publisher put the book together, they called Jack Canfield and they told him, there's a couple of pages empty in the back of the book. Do you want to do anything with that? And he thought, well, I don't have a story or anything to share anymore. And he said, well, why don't you just put my address there and then tell people to share with me their stories. Write down their stories and then send it to my address. So they started to print and sell the books. And their goal was to sell 1 million of this first edition of Chicken Soup of the Soul. And then the stories started to roll in. Hundreds and hundreds of stories. Today, there are 250 titles of Chicken Soup of the Soul and more than 500 million of these books floating around the world in more than 40 languages. Eventually, as they reached success with his book, he and his assistant thought, we were so successful. Why don't we put all the principles we used for our success and all the things that I've been teaching all of my life together in one book? And that is where the book Success Principles came from. Today, at the age of 73, he is coaching other people to multiply himself to teach these success principles. Now, when Jack was a high school teacher, he didn't know that he was going to write a bestseller at the age of 50. He didn't know that he was going to hold a Guinness World Record for the most books at one time on the New York Times bestseller list. Seven of his titles. He didn't know that he was still going to work at the age of 73, teaching people to live a life of full potential and multiplying himself in hundreds of other people. So what he did is he just made the best of every season, of every period of his life. He had high goals for every season, but he didn't necessarily have a big life end goal at every stage. So that's my inspiration today. You know, if you don't have a big life goal, just be the best where you are today. A friend of mine, Tony Rodriguez, he posted a video the other day with this pearl of wisdom. Blossom where you are planted. Thank you, Tony. And that is my encouragement to you today as well. Blossom where you are planted. Don't worry if you don't have a big goal. That will sort itself out as long as you make the best of every season of your life. See you in the next video.